Today's Amud in Maseches Berachos is Nun Ches Amud Beis 58b. We're beginning the top of the page, Tanu Rabbanan. This is Hashem, the first section. We're going to continue on with various brachos that you make upon seeing certain locations. We'll see homes of Jewish people, kvarim, non-Jewish people, different situations, and along with some stories. And then the second section, towards the bottom of the page, we'll tie back into the Mishnah and discuss zikin, and we'll discuss today some astronomy. We'll discuss the zodiac and the stars. As is Hashem, let's get started at the top of the page. Tanu Rabbanan, says the Brisa. Haraya Batei Yisrael b'Yeshuvan. If somebody sees houses of Jews in their settled state, Rashi learns it means if you see settled homes during Bayis Sheni, during the Second Temple. Others learn we're talking about where you see glorious Jewish edifices, not necessarily in the Bayis Sheni regarding to the Jews that were there, but even beautiful homes or locations belonging to Jews elsewhere. But Omer, what is the bracha that you say? Baruch matziv givul almana. Blessed is Hashem who stood up or fixed up the boundaries of almana, of the widow, meaning that the Jews were reinstituted into Eretz Yisrael, according to Rashi. But bechorbanan, if you see those same homes after they've been destroyed, so Omer Baruch Taina Emes, you say the bracha that is said in general upon negative news or negative realities in our minds, which is blessed is Hashem, the truthful judge. Continues the Gemara. But and if you see these glorious edifices of Goyim in their settled state, Omer, so you say a pasuk in Mishlei, Beis Geyim Yisach Hashem, the house of the proud ones, or the Gaiva people, the people of Gaiva, Yisach Hashem, Hashem should destroy. But Chorbanan, if you see them destroyed, Omer, so you say, Kel Nekamas Hashem, Kel Nekamas Sophia, Hashem is the vengeful God, He shows His vengeance. Gemara tells us a story regarding seeing a Jewish home in its state of destruction. Ula v'Rav Chizda havu ka'azli ba'orcha. Ula and Rav Chizda were walking on the way. Kimatu apischa debei Rav Chana bar Chani Loi. When they arrived at the entrance of the house of Rav Chana bar Chani Loi. Now this used to be his house. It had been in disrepair for a long time, it sounds like, and it used to be a beautiful edifice, as we'll see. It did a lot of mitzvahs, and now it was in its destroyed state. So Nogan Rav Chizda ve'itnach. Rav Chizda made a big groan when he saw this. So Amar Ula said to Rav Chizda, Amai kamis nachas, why are you groaning? Amar Rav, but Rav says, Anocha sheveres chetzi gufa shel adam. Groaning destroys half the body of a person. It has such negative medical effects. Shenemar, like the pasuk tells us in Yecheskel, Ve'ata ben adam he anach. You now, son of man, groan, b'shivrin masnayim, with a breaking of the loins. The loins are in the middle of the body, so it's an emphasis, v'goimer, that a groan can hurt you, can destroy half your body. Rabbi Yochanan says even worse. Af kol gufay shel adam, it could even destroy the entire body of a person. Shneimar, like the pasuk says, V'haya ki yomer elecha, also in Yecheskel, V'haya ki yomer elecha, it will be when they say to you, Al me'ata ne'enach, what are you groaning about? V'amarta, you'll say, El shmua ki ba'a, the news that has come, V'namas kol lev v'goimer, and all of the hearts have been melted, and the Pesukim emphasize the entire body is destroyed. So, L'chayra zakt ula to Rav Chizda, why are you groaning? It's not a good thing to groan. So Amar Leis, Rav Chizda said, Heichi lo yisnach, how could I not groan? Beisa dahavu b'shisin af yasa b'yamama, the house that used to have 60 bakers in it during the day. V'shisin af yasa b'leilya, and 60 bakers at night. V'afyon l'kol man ditzarech, and they would bake for whatever was needed, whoever needed. The Loshak al Yada min Kisa, and this Rav Chana bar Chani Loi was a big tzaddik, a big gomel chesed. He gave a lot of tzedakah. He never removed his hand from near his pouch, his money pouch, his wallet. The Savar, because he thought to himself, Dilma asi ani bar tovim, maybe a poor man, the son of nobility, someone who had tasted nobility before, will come. And if I take time to put my hand in my wallet to take out money, he'll be embarrassed. So he says, therefore I kept my hand. He used to keep his hand on his wallet. Visu, and furthermore, which shows a sensitivity to tzedakah. Visu, and furthermore, have a pesichin le arba babi le arba ruchasa talma. He used to open up his house 4 entrances to the 4 directions. The kol dehava ayil kafin, anybody that would enter his house when they were hungry, nafik hisaveh, they would go out satisfied. V'havushadi le chiti use'ari b'shnei batzar sabaroi, and he would throw wheat and barley outside of the house during the years of famine. So anyone who was embarrassed to take food from him during the day, they should come and take at night. So this used to be this glorious house which had tremendous chesed that was done from it. Said Rav Chizda, now it's fallen in as a ruin, as a heap, as disrepair. Should I not groan? So Amar Lei, so Ula said back to Rav Chizda, we're holding Nun Ches Amud Beis, about 7 lines from down the middle lines. Amar Lei, so Ula said back to Rav Chizda, Hachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan, but I'll tell you, if you try to give you a bit of comfort. Rabbi Yochanan says, Miyayim Shecha Beis HaMikdash Nigzera Gezer Al Batein Shel Tzadikim Sheyachrevu. The day the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, there's been a decree on the homes of tzaddikim that they should be destroyed. Shenem, like the pasuk says in Yeshaya, "Ba'oznei Hashem tzivakos," in the ears of Hashem of legions. Im loy batim rabim l'shama yihyu. If not, that the homes, the great homes, will be destroyed. Gedolim v'toivim me'ein yoshev, the ones of great and good ones without settlement. So Ula said to Rav Chizda, that's just the reality. It's the gezerah since the Chorban. And furthermore, in the future, Hashem will repopulate those homes, will resettle those homes, rebuild them. Like the pasuk says in Tehillim, Shir Ma'ales LeDavid, a song of ascent for David. Those that rely on Hashem, who are the tzaddikim, will be like Har Tzion, the mountain of Zion. Just as the Beis HaMikdash will be rebuilt with settlement, so too Hashem will rebuild those homes. So don't be so upset. It's going to be rebuilt ultimately. So Chazia de Yashiv Daite. Ula still saw that Rav Chizda was not comforted. He was still bothered that this home of Rechana Bar Chaniloi was still sitting in disrepair.
Yeah, I don't understand how that would assuage his feeling. I mean, we still feel bad. The Beis HaMikdash is horrible. Oh, it'll be rebuilt, but we still feel bad.
Right. I think it was more that he was just saying, this is the Metzias. This is the reality. Right. Yeah. Can't let it get to you so much. It's just the reality. That's the next step, actually. You're right. The comfort l'char is born in the next step. So Amar Leisa, so in order to try to comfort him, he said, it's sufficient that the slave should be like the master, like you're saying. Beis HaMikdash has been destroyed, so Hashem's house is destroyed. So the Eved also, his house could be destroyed. Meaning is that, as the Marsha adds in a little bit over here, the Marsha adds in, this is already an Avelis Yeshana. Meaning, unfortunately, this is an old story. This is an old mourning that we've been mourning. This is just an extension of that. So you could still groan, but the point is, you don't feel it as much as the years go by, because unfortunately, this is really a hemshech, or a continuum of Chorban Bayis as it was. Let's move on to other brachas we make when it comes to seeing certain things. Somebody sees the graves of Jewish people. So he should say, Baruch Asher Yatzer Eschem B'din. Blessed is Hashem that He created you by right, by din, with His justice. V'zon Eschem B'din, and He also sustained you. Thank you. B'din. V'kil Kil Eschem B'din, and He also gave you, provided you with food B'din, or supported you B'din. V'asaf Eschem B'din, and He gathered you in B'din, meaning you passed away. V'asid Lahakimchem B'din, in the future with Chias HaMesim, He'll stand you back up B'din. And Marbrei Dravina Messiah B'Mishmei Rav Nachman, so Marbrei Dravina would finish off the bracha as follows: V'yodea Mispar Kulchem, and He knows your numbers. V'hu asid la'achayoschem, He's going to bring you back to life. O lekayim eschem, and stand you up and establish you. Baruch mechaya yamesim, blessed is Hashem who revives the dead.
That's what we say when we go to this.
When we see a Jewish kvarim, Jewish graves.
That's the bracha we say. We haven't been there in 30 days, no?
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. Yeah, I haven't said these brachas before, but the taka I should learn. If you go 30 days, l'char you should. Yeah.
You haven't got to Levaya, right?
I have. I've been to basic Kfaras. I just. Now, if a person sees Kfarim, the graves of Goyim, so he says a pasuk in Yomi we mentioned earlier, Busha imchem, your mother should be ashamed. V'goyim, this is not a positive connotation. Amar B'Shua ben Levi, if someone sees his friend after 30 days, he hasn't seen him in 30 days. He says, Baruch so it's a bracha you say when something wonderful happens to you in life. You experience a new experience or mitzvah. So you say, bless Hashem that He allowed me to live till today. That's if you don't see your friend after 30 days, meaning there's a 30-day break. But if it's after 12 months, so then you say Baruch Mechaya Mesim. 12 months is the amount of time that it's like somebody passed away. And we're going to see Amar Rav, because Rav says, Eina Meis Mishtakach Min Alev, the dead person is not forgotten from the heart of its relatives, only after 12 months. How do we know that? Shenamar, as the pasuk says, Nishkachti kemes milev, I've forgotten like a dead person from the heart. Hayisi kekli oivet, I was like a vessel that was lost. So Rashi explains, we know in Bam Metzia that the halacha is, if somebody loses something, so when they would find it, they would announce it for the 3 regalim in Yerushalayim. After the 3 regalim, you could assume that there's been Yerush Bailim and you could keep it. So that's the same idea. 12 months connotes a time that it's been forgotten. So the point that we're saying over here is, if a person hasn't seen his friend for 12 months, it's as if he's dead to him, meaning in a certain sense, so you say Baruch Mechaya Yamesim, if you see him. Now the Gemara tells us a story which is a difficult story, but let's see. Rav Papa and Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua have a kazli ba'orcha. Rav Papa and Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua were walking on the way. Pagu Bey Berav Chanina Breder Ravika. So they bumped into a fellow named Rav Chanina, the son of Ravika. So Amrulei, they said to this Rav Chanina Breder Ravika, Bahadi de Chazinach Barchinach Alach Tarti. Now that we see you, so the 2 rabbis said to the one, now that we see you, we're going to make 2 brachas upon seeing you. Number 1, Baruch Asher Chalak Mechachmas Eliyarev, which is the bracha that we make, like we learned the past couple days over a Chacham BeYisrael. And the She'achiyanu, we haven't seen you in 30 days, so we also make a bracha of She'achiyanu. So Amarlu, so the Rav Chanina Breder Ravika wanted to one-up them. So he said back to them, Ananami kivin de chazasinchu. I also, now that I'm seeing you, chashavtinchu eloi kishisin ravavan bebeis Yisrael. You are to me like 600,000 Jewish people. Ubarchina alaychu tlasa. And therefore that allows me to make 3 brachas when I see you. Hanach tarti, the first 2 that you said. Ubarach chacham harazim. And also the 3rd bracha, which is the bracha when you see 600,000 Jewish people, which is a rarity, you make Baruch chacham harazim. Now what's the pshat? Because the bracha Baruch Chacham Harazim is that we bless Hashem when we see 600,000 people, as each person has a little bit of a different perspective, a little bit of a different chachma and angle, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows all of those chachmas of all of those individuals. So he said to these 2 chachamim, Rapad and Huda Breder of Yeshua, you are such great chachamim, you possess all of those chachmas, all of those perspectives, and therefore I'm ra'oi now to make a 3rd bracha of Baruch Chacham Harazim as well. That's a very big chiddush.
Are they in Eretz Yisrael?
This is l'chayra chutz la'aretz. Farshim do point out that he l'chayra argues on the psak we said earlier. Yes, yes, yeah, because l'chayra is in Bavel. Yes, yes. And Taka, I believe I saw in the article front it said the Rama paskins that it's only in Eretz Yisrael, but l'chayra this Amira would disagree with the Amira we had earlier. Yeah, l'chayra you have to say. Okay.
At least I remember.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So Amrulei. Now the other 2 chacham, Rav Papa and Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua, they did not appreciate what this Rav Chanina was saying. What's that? Yeah. So we'll see exactly. There's 2 pshatim what their issue was. But Amrulei, Chakimas Kule, hi, are you so smart? Yahavi be'enayu, they placed their eyes on him, they looked at him negatively, v'shachiv, and he died. That's what happens when Chacham look at you negatively. So the Mefarshim speak out, they had one of 2 potential issues with what he did. Either they said, based on what you're saying, you're suggesting that you have Chachmas HaPartzuf, that you could just look at us and you already know that we contain all of the Chachmas. We have every Chacham of all the 600,000 Jewish people. We don't believe that's true. So you're making stuff up. So that was either one issue. The other issue they said is, there's no Tana that says such a Chiddush. And we don't believe that you're so great that you could make up such a Chiddush and potentially risk saying a bracha levatala.
Tana means what?
That says that if there's 2 chachamim who possess like 600,000 people, you could say Baruch Chacham Harazim. So Mela, you're saying something that's a major chiddush that's potentially a bracha levatala, and therefore we don't buy into what you're saying. That's why they were upset. Okay, let's move on. Amar Yeshua ben Levi. Yeshua ben Levi says Haraya es bahaknim. Okay, so Rashi seems to identify bahaknim as spotted or freckles. So we're going to speak about now people that look a little bit strange. So there's a certain bracha you make when you see people like that. People, if someone sees other people that have freckles, this is specifically red dots over very gleaming white skin. It's like red spots over gleaming white skin. It doesn't seem to be necessarily a healthy thing. We're going to see it might be caused congenitally, but it might also be caused after a person was born too. So Aimer, so he says, Baruch Mishana Abrios. This is a general bracha you make when you see unique or strange types of creatures or people. So you say, Baruch Mishana Abrios, blessed is Hashem, who caused there to be different kinds of changed creatures.
And you say it in a low voice.
What's that? In a low voice. You don't offend him, I guess. He asks the Gemara, 1 second. The Bryce of the Chara contradicts it. So Tosefta says as follows. Ra is akushi. Okay, if you see a kushi. Now, see, I would suggest, I don't know, I would just think, these halachas, I wonder if they saw black people very often. Maybe they just didn't see them so often. So, I don't know. Ra is akushi. I mean, today, it could be, I don't know, this was different then. I'm not sure. Ra is akushi. If you see a person with a dark complexion.
I'll tell you, when I was growing up, I think I might have seen, maybe, I just didn't even remember, 1 or 2 black people, and they would have been Brazilians.
Right, exactly.
You know, Mamish Brazilian.
Right.
But Brazilian, there's the Europeans and black.
Right.
So, like, when I came to the States, it was like, whoa, this is like, I'm saying, depending where you live, you may not see.
Right. It's not even an offensive thing, by the way. Mishana Abrios just means it's something that's unique. Different. It's different. There's a different creature that you've never, like...
I'm saying, depends where you live, you may not come across other people.
Right, a Yid that grew up in Poland 150 years ago perhaps never saw black people. I don't know.
Unless somebody came, you know,
right, could be.
Something.
I'm asking. So let's see. Okay, challenging this psak. We just said that if you see someone with spots or freckles, you say Baruch Mishana Abrios. So what's the Bryce? The Tosefta says like this: Rois Akushi, if you saw a person with a dark complexion. That's a gichor. Gichor means a person with a reddish complexion. Ve'es halavkan. Lavkan is like an albino. Ve'es hakipeach. Somebody that's obese. Rashi goes through a couple of different pshatim. Is like his frame and his body don't exactly match up. Very overweight, very large. Ve'es hananas, or someone who's a dwarf. Ve'es hadar nikus, or someone that has warts. Oimer, so he says, Baruch Mishana Abrios. You say that bracha, that's a strange looking person, make a bracha. But the Brisa continues, Es hakiteya, if he sees a person with amputated arms, Es asuma, or a blind person, Ves petuyi arosh. Rashi learns this means that his hair is like all stuck together and matted. It's a strange looking thing. Ve'es hachiger, or he has his legs amputated. Ve'es hamuk ashchin, he's covered in boils. Ve'es habahaknim, so this is the case, the spotted case. So Aimer, so then you say Baruch Daina Emes. So you say the bracha that's generally said over something negative, some negative report. So we said you say Mishana Abrios, the Brisa says you say Daina Emes. And for the Gemara, like Kashya, no problem. This that we said earlier in the Mishnah. This was 1 second. Mishana Abrios, sorry. When you say Mishana Abrios, when he's born that way, it means Mishana Abrios, HaKadosh Baruch Hu formed him to be this way. That's when he's born that way. And Basar de Isyolid. But if it happened after he was born, so that means there was some sort of an accident, some sort of a damage, etc., then you would say Daina Emes. 2 different scenarios. And the Gemara says Deikanami. This is actually implicit in the Brisa. Dekatani, because the Brisa said Domi de Kiteya. It compared it to the case of Kiteya. Shma Mina. So we see from that, just like the case of Kiteya is something that doesn't happen before you're born, meaning we're saying it's something that happens after, and you say this bracha of a Daina Emes. So similarly, when it comes to this Bahaknim, which is half afterwards, you say Daina Emes. Tan Rabbanan. Let's finish up this section now. The Gemara tells us a couple of animals. Haroya Pil, if somebody sees an elephant, Kaif, a monkey, Vikapud, a kapud is an owl. Oimer, so he says Baruch Mishana Abrios. Very interesting. The Mefarshim speak out. Either these are very unique looking creatures, they look different than other animals, or they resemble humans in a certain way. Very interesting idea.
The other one that is not mentioned here is the owl.
That's the owl. That's the kapot. The kapof. That's art school apparently. Yeah.
Okay, so those 3 are
Mishana Abrios. They
parts of a human.
Yeah. There's what to be said. I think if I remember correctly, Bookspan once was telling me of art that HaKadosh Baruch Hu changed the people by the Dora Flaga into monkeys and elephants. There's such a medrash brought down. I wonder if there's some kesher between this. Fine. Continues the Gemara. Ra Abrios Taivas, if he sees beautiful creatures, it could be people, men and women. The Ilanais Tavis, or nice trees. Oimer Baruch Shekachalai Ba'olam. He says, blessed is Hashem that so he created in his world such wonderful things. Okay, let's move on to the second section now. Now we're going to discuss here what is the definition of zikin. We had in the Mishnah zikin. Kacha is like this, that like this he created in his world. Kachalai Ba'olam. So it is in his world. Kacha. We said in the Mishnah that a person who sees zikin makes a bracha, Baruch shekoicha ugvurasei malei olam. Blessed Hashem whose might fills the world.
Zikin is the.
We're gonna show what that is now. We're gonna see what it is right now. Here. So the Mishnah said on zikin you say this bracha, Baruch shekoicha ugvurasei malei olam. Now the Gemara is going to discuss here a bit of astronomy. For those who have a bit of a background, this might be a little easier. We'll break it down. It shouldn't be that complicated. So says the Gemara, my zikin. What is the definition of the zikin? Right? These zikin that you say, Baruch shekoicha ugvurasei malei olam. So two pshatim. Amar Shmuel. I'm going to learn this like Rashi. Taisus learns this a little bit differently, but Rashi learns like this. Amar Shmuel. Kuchva deshavit. It is a shooting star, but it's not just any shooting star. It's a specific shooting star. Shooting star. You see that? You say Baruch shekoicha ugvurasei malei olam. Amar Shmuel. Shmuel continues. Nehirin li shvili deshmaya keshvili dinarda. I have a clarity in the paths of the sky, in all of astronomy and the stars and all of that, like the streets of Narda. Means he had a tremendous chachma in astronomy, and actually the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah tells us that he could have established the entire calendar for Bavel just based on his chachma alone. But Shmuel admitted, lebar mekuchva deshavit. Besides for the star that shoots, the shooting star, delo yadana ma'niu. I don't exactly know where it is, how it is. That's one thing that it's arbitrary. Or seemingly. The Gemiri, but we have a tradition, avar kisla, that the shooting star never passes through the mazel called kisil. Okay, let's just keep that in mind. There's mazalis, we know there's 12 mazalis, representative of the 12 different months of the year. Just for an example, we have Tzileh, which is mazel of Nisan. Then we have Shor, which is the mazel of Iyar. It's Aries, Taurus, etc., etc. So we have a tradition, the shooting star never passes through the mazel of Kisil. The avar kislan, if it would pass through Kisil, Charav Alma, the world would be destroyed. Says the Gemara, but wait a second. V'haka chazinan da'avar. We do find that shooting star goes through Kisil. So Gemara gives two terutzim for this. Ziv Yahu da'avar. The first answer is, it's just the shine of the shooting star that passes through Kisil, but not the shooting star itself. Or mischazik da'avar yu, and it looks like it's passing through. Now this is how Rashi learns, a little bit difficult to read, but Rashi learns what Rav Huna Breder Yeshua is about to do is to answer the original question. What is zikin? So Shmuel said zikin is shooting star. Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua Amar, Rav Huna Breder Yeshua says a different pshat in zikin, which is viloin hu de mikra, take out the next word, umechzi nehura de rakia. Sometimes viloin, which is the most innermost layer of the rakias. There's 7 rakias, 7 firmaments discussed in Maseches Chagiga. It tears, and then some of the shine of the heavens pierces through. That's the definition of zikin in the Mishnah. Now he's defining zikin, but now let's get back to our story. The first answer we said, why it appears sometimes that this shooting star goes through Ksil is because it's the shine. But now we get to the second answer. I just explained like Rashi. Tosfos learns it a little easier in the words, but that's Rashi. Rav Ashi Rav Ashi is the second shot, why it looks like this shooting star passes through a Ksil. Koichvahu to akar mehai gisa de kisla. Sometimes one star HaKadosh Baruch Hu will uproot from one side of the mazel of the astrological sign of Zika, and then the stars on the other side of this astrological sign will get nervous and start to flare up. So between this one star that's being removed and the other stars that are shaking, moving around, it looks like a shooting star is passing through Kisil, but really it's not a shooting star passing through. Okay. Now we get to the sugya of Ksil and Kima. So we're going to refer to these things as the Gemara calls them. These are different astrological signs. There's 12 of them. And as I said, there's, it goes, first we have Tzled, then we have Shor. There's different ones throughout the year. Happens to be, I know that because Taurus, I was born in Iyar, so I happen to know that. But the point is, it goes like that. Most of the stuff you see in the Sunday newspaper is baloney. Most of that is mamish. 99.9999999 is baloney, but there is real chachma there, meaning there is not there, meaning in our svarim there is chachma and there is a mahalach here. So the Gemara says like this. We discussed at length in Maseches Rosh Hashanah and other places. Shmuel brought a contradiction. Ksiv, on one hand, the pasuk in Eov says, Oise Ash, Kisil, V'Kima. It refers to 3 of the mazalas of the astrological signs as Ash, Kisil, and Kima. So it puts Kisil before Kima. V'Ksiv, and then another pasuk, which is in Amos, it says, Oise Kima Uksil. It says Kima and then Ksil. So first pasuk says Ksil and then Kima. The second pasuk puts Kima and then Ksil. So how do we resolve the seeming contradiction? So Ilmali, the Gemara explains like this. Let me just speak it out and we'll see it inside. Ksil, as we're going to see, Kima, as we're going to see, controlled the Kima was the air conditioner. Kima cools the world down. Ksil heats the world up. So what HaKadosh Baruch Hu did in the Bria is in the summer, when the astrological sign of Ksil has more of a koach, he grouped together Kima with it, but a secondary to it, so that the world doesn't get too hot. And vice versa in the winter. So that's why when the first astrological sign signifies what the season is, the other one is there to make sure it doesn't get uncomfortable.
Attenuate.
To attenuate, thank you. So the Gemara says like this.
Fancy word.
Okay, good.
To regulate the temperature.
Regulate the temperature. We have Baruch Hashem, air conditioning. Kadosh Baruch Hu created air conditioning for us. Baruch Hashem. If not for the heat of Kisil that's provided in the winter, the world wouldn't be able to survive in Beitzina Shel Kima, because the coolness, the cold provided by Kima, Tzina Shel Kima, and if not for the cooling effect of Kima in the winter, in the summer, the world wouldn't be able to survive because of the heat of Ksil in the summer. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a shutvas between them so that the world can survive at an average temperature. The Gemiri, we have a tradition, ilav ukza de akrava, similar idea, if not for the tail of the scorpion. This is an expression referring to Kima, which is actually, again, that star, or the star formation, it's Tleh, we're going to get to later actually. Ukza de akrava, which is Tleh, which cools the world down. De manach ben Nahar Dinor, if not that it would have been placed in the Nahar Dinor, which literally means the river of fire. These are different astrological setups, which is actually referring to Kima, which we'll see is Tleh. Kol man dehava terika le'akrava, anyone in this world who would be stung by a scorpion, le'avachai, wouldn't be able to live. So apparently that was necessary so scorpions don't kill people. And that's what it means when the Hashem says to Eov, he is complaining that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing things and he doesn't know what he's doing, and Hashem responds, he says, Hiskasher ma'adonis Kima, could you untie the bonds of Kima? Oimoishches Kisil tepateach, or the shackles of Kisil, would you be able to open them? Meaning to say is, I created the world with such chachma so that the world could survive at perfect temperatures. We know if the sun was a little bit of farther removed or a little bit closer, that we wouldn't be able to survive. So created with perfect chachma, and that is referring to this idea. Asks the Gemara, my Kima. What is Kima? What does this terminology come from of Kima? So Amar Shmuel, it means, it's an acronym. Kim Mea Kochvi. It's a star formation of like 100 stars. So Amrila, some say de Mekanfi, that the stars are gathered together. But Amrila de Mevadra, and some say that they're spread apart. Says the Gemara, my Ush. Ush is another one of these signs we mentioned before. These star formations, these mazolis. So Amr Yehuda, Yuta. It's called Yuta. My Yuta, so what's Yuta? So Amrila, they say, is Zanav Teleh. Ush is the tail of Tleh. Now, Tleh is the first mazel. So it's the tail of mazel, Aries, exactly. For Amrila, and others say Reisha de Egla. We know that it goes Tleh and then Shor. So some say that it's the tail of the first one, tail of Tleh, and some say it's the head of the next one, Egla is Shor. Some say it's the head of Taurus, of Shor. Well, Mistaver command the Amr is on of Tleh, but the Gemara says it's logical, like the one who said it's the tail of Tleh. Why? Because the pasuk says in Eov, "Va'ayish al boneha tanchem." Ayish is comforted about its children. Meaning we're going to see that some of the stars were taken away from Ayish, and Ayish was upset. This is obviously, there's a lot, this is deep obviously, but I can't tell you I understand it. But the star formation of Ayish was upset, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu ultimately is going to comfort it. But the point is, it says because some of its stars were taken away. Al Machasra, so we see it was lacking. Mischazia, and the Gemara says we know, if you look in the sky, and you have capacity to see this, turning to Netesim with Aleph, Ketarfa de Tarif. We know that the tail of Tleh is, there's two versions in Rashi. Either it means it looks like it was smashed with a hammer, or it looks like stars were clumped together. But either way you learn in Rashi, it looks like something was taken out of there. So the Gemara says, L'chayra, Ayish was upset that it's lacking. We know that the tail of Tleh is lacking in some stars. So Mistama Ayish and the tail of Tleh is the same thing. V'haida azla basra, and this that Ush or Ayish follows after the body of Tleh, meaning it follows after the body of Tleh, V'haida azla basra to Amrila, because it's saying to it, Havli beni, give me back my children, give me back my stars. This ties into the Mabul, the Gemara Rosh Hashanah. Because when Hashem wanted to bring a Mabul to the world, he took two stars out of Kima. Kima is the guf of the Tleh. It's the body of that first star formation of Tleh. Vehevi mabul la'olam, and with that he brought a mabul to the world, either through the open space or because it cooled down the world now that it didn't have its power. Now when the mabul was over and he wanted to put stars back into that location, he took 2 stars out of the tail called Ayish and he put it into Kima, which is the body of the Tleh, in order to fill it up. Says the Gemara of Lehadula, why not just put back its own stars? Why take 2 stars from the tail, from Ayish? So the Gemara says, either we had this expression before, you can't fill up a pit with its own sand, some is lost along the way, or the prosecutor can't become the defender. These were used to bring destruction to the world, the Mabul, you can't use that to correct it. Says the Gemara, you just create 2 new stars. Why do you have to take it away from the tail? So the Gemara says an expression from the Gemara, the pasuk in Koheles, Ein kol chadash tachas hashamish. After Ma'aseh Berachos, Hashem does not create new phenomena. Actually, in Pirkei Avos, it goes through how the miracles that happened throughout history were also put into play from Ma'aseh Berachos. In the future, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring back those stars to the tail, to Ayish. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, "V'Ayish al boneh tanchem." Ayish will be comforted about the children it lost, meaning it'll get its stars back eventually. Okay, we'll stop here. Top in the Tessamud Aleph. We'll pick up in the Tessamud Aleph tomorrow. A wonderful day.